Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem, Al Shai, Bashem, Rakakodash, Shalom to the 144,000 and the rest of your elect out there, Shalom to you all. And I'm going to entitle this video, A Double-Minded Israelite Group is Unstable in All Its Ways, which is a play on James 1 verse 8. A double man is minded and stable in all his ways. Let me see here. This isn't the title. The headline is Testing Your Faith. James is talking to the Israelites. Knowing this, that the trying of your faith work is patience, but let patience have her perfect work, that he that leadeth into captivity should go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and faith of the saints, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask the Most High power, that giveth to all men liberally, freely, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Let's deal with the word perfect. The perfecting of the saints, Ephesians chapter 4. Perfect. If I'm teaching one thing, a particular precept, let's say Apostle Gabar teaches something different, then there's a problem. You have to get on the phone or whatever and say, look, brother, you just went off. And the group, or the
Strong's G 5.
And the group or the camp that I'm talking about is IUIC, the imperfect. And pride has blinded the leader of that group. And I'm going to prove that.
Strong's G 5046. Teleos.
It's not tel-as, but teleos. Brought to its end, meaning when you research something, you do it in a exhaustively. In other words, the King James Bible, 1611, original King James came out in 1604, and King James he had 47 translators. Some took the Hebrew, some took the Old Testament, the law, some took the book, the Proverbs, the Psalms, the writing, some took the history, others took the prophets. They had to translate all of that. And then in the New Testament, you also got the Apocrypha, because the original King James includes the Apocrypha, so those 47 scholars a certain group of them had to deal with the translating the Apocrypha, and then the regular scriptures, which, for example, the four Gospels written in Hebrew, but it was translated into the Greek, so from the Greek to the English. So the whole New Testament was pretty much Greek, but translated from the Hebrew. So they had to translate it into the English. Brought to its end, finish, wanting nothing, necessary to completeness, perfect. If you don't understand something, you keep tackling it until you get it perfect. That's in sports. You know, you want the perfect 3-pointer, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing it. You know, you got to stay on the court. You know, Michael Jordan had to, he had to work to perfect what he did. It says that which is a perfect, a consummate human integrity and virtue of men, full grown adult of full age, mature. Oh, what does Hebrews 5:12 say? I'll go to it for the ones of you that don't know, but we all know this by heart. Hebrews 5:12. I may even read it in the NLT. But I'm going to show you a video to show you that this particular group, the IUIC, is imperfect. And they will not become perfect because of the leader being proud. For when the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High, and are become such as need of milk and not of strong meat. Remember the grape doctrine? A lot of guys that went into the Hebrew, they got all emotional because they choked off of that meat. That grape doctrine, that was meat. Brothers couldn't handle it. It said, for everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. Which dude got the most emotional? Bishop Nate. He got real emotional. He went down to the island and said, man, this brother, he was going around. He wound up in an emotional frenzy. It says, but he's still emotional. He's emotional, man. That's why he can't get it unless he humbles himself. It said, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age. Now you might be saying, why you leave the bishop's name out your mouth? Why are you always talking about do you watch our videos? Why don't you watch? Instead of asking that question, watch our videos. And I'm going to show you this video that was put up by the head of GMS Baltimore. Had put up a video showing you how Nate taught one thing and one of the captains, whatever the title he has, he taught complete opposite. So do they not watch each other's videos? It says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are full age. If you had the strong meat, you would see that the MOTB is the micro C hip. That's giving you that as an example. Even those who, by reason of use, have their senses, mind, exercised to discern both good and evil. That's all, good and evil. That's also in Malachi 3, verse 16. To discern between good and evil. That's why Christians go off, because they don't know how to discern between good and evil. That's why they'll see it says Gentile right here. Yeah, those Gentiles are Israelites. So anyway, let me get the video. All right, let me see some. Yeah, this is madness. I was watching some of this. The second Exodus is a self-willed, bugged out, false doctrine. Yeah, you got these pop-up Israelites. That's a new name for them. Pop-up Israelites. Let me see. Let me just find this. And Trump is doing a hell of a job. Yeah, he had to pull back. He wanted to cut financial grants and aids to everybody. Then he had to turn around. He's moving too fast. He's talking. He's making statements. He's not thinking. You know, he's going to bring the whole world against him. He's the king of Babylon. I strongly believe in Isaiah 14. He's also, I believe, the cruel. Let me not say I believe. He's the cruel Lord in Isaiah 19 in Egypt. Yeah, and that shows that they put him up. There's people behind the scenes. They allowed a madman to get in office. The last guy was a walking corpse. You went from a walking corpse to a madman. Talking about if you anti-Sem, but the Democrats they backed up those people just like the Republicans, and he's not going to stop aid to them, guaranteed. It says so if you're anti-Sem, he can deport. He's going to deport everybody. There's only going to be 5 people left in the country because he's deporting. I don't like the fact that you're wearing brown shoes. I'm deporting you to Gwen. This guy's a madman. He's a madman. So you know he's not running the country. It says, let me just go ahead and read some of this. Bible scholars can't get around this scripture as they are clueless when it comes to prophecy, Revelation 19 and 10. And I'll read that in a minute. Revelation 19 and 10. I'm sorry, let me see here. And I fell on my feet and worshipped the testimony of Yahushua, Jesus, spirit of prophecy. Well, there's a lot of things they can't get. They can't get Revelation 10. I believe it's actually the 10th verse where it says that John will prophesy again before many kings, tongues, nations, kings, and so forth. What is that talking about? Got to happen. You got a record of John. John was on the Isle of Patmos. He was one of the apostles. So when did he get off the Patmos and go and prophesy again? Reincarnation. This guy does he got a good page. Gold, silver, Mike Maloney. You know, he specializes in gold and silver. Let me see. Okay, IUIC soldier. I guess the brother's a captain. Secretly admits we're not in the new covenant. He doesn't secretly admit it, but he does a class. Nate does a class, and then he does a class, and the two lessons contradict each other. And I'm going to play it. This is fair use, fair use, fair use. Then I'm going to give you a handful of precepts. So listen up, listen up, listen up. And this is why we can't keep his name out of our mouths. This is why we're always doing videos. We're showing you that you're going off. Let's say I'm a mechanic. You have a car. You put diesel fuel in the car, and then you get the car told into me, and I find out you got diesel fuel in that car. I said, this car is not a diesel. This car is not designed for diesel fuel. I remember when I was in mechanic school, there's a bunch of boneheaded Benjaminites, man. These guys, they was about robbing shit, taking the teacher stealing his tools. So one guy, I remember his name. His name was Learcraft. I believe it was his car. He grabbed a canister of gas, what he thought was gas, and he said, "Get it quick, get it." He put it in his car, and then the car it wasn't running right. So he asked the head mechanic, and the mechanic said, "You got diesel fuel in there." I said, "Oh, now I know where my diesel fuel went." And he had to I don't know how long it took, but he had to clean that out of the system. I think it took a couple of days, a couple of hours, whatever the case may be. And the head mechanic, which this dude looked just like fucking Fred, he looked just like Fred Flintstone. In real life, he was like laughing. And he was like saying, that's what you get for stealing shit, you know? So you got a guy that comes in and he puts diesel fuel, and you tell him the car won't run. What's wrong with it? I'm doing everything right. And I'll tell you, no, you're not doing everything right. This car is not built to run on diesel fuel. It's built to run on regular gasoline, right? So you charge them $500, whatever you're gonna charge them, and you tell them. But then this clown does the same fucking thing again, and that's what the IUIC is doing. And you're gonna see that you have two opposing thoughts here. This is why we get on you guys. This is why we know that the MOTB, that Bishop Nate knows full well that the MOTB is the micro C hip. He knows that. Now either he took the bag or took a truckload of bags, or he finally sees it, because at one time you don't see it. He finally sees it, but he can't. He says, how can I if I say the mark of the beast is the microchip? First of all, his congregation gonna act like they ain't gonna get surprised. They're not gonna say, well, wait a minute, because them people they're under zombie spell. I'm not saying it as a joke. They are under a zombie spell. They are under a spell. And even the Apostle Paul said in Galatians 3, who have bewitched you. Let me get that real quick. So there's false teachers out there that bewitch other people. So he's bewitched people. So Galatians 3. Like if y'all say we're gonna bring you guys to court for, keeping them, then all I'm gonna do is say, Exhibit A, let's put up the video. Nate saying one thing, one of his captains or whatever is saying something completely different. Bring up the next video, Exhibit number 2. Here, the hell doctrine. He said that there's an actual hell, that spirits burning forever, that includes Israelites. I have a video that goes back 5 years ago where he wasn't teaching that. Exhibit 3. Exhibit 3. He kicked us out of school for us saying that Cornelius is an Israelite. Now he teaches that Cornelius is an Israelite. Exhibit 4. How many more exhibits do you want? Galatians 6:1 on down says, ye that are spiritual restore. If thou brother be overtaken in the fault, ye which are spiritual restore such a one in the spirit of meekness, considering thine own self, lest ye fall. I'm merely paraphrasing. So are we supposed to stay in our lane? Like Deacon Asaph said, no, you got to stay in your lane. Or are we supposed to tell them that they're going off? Because you guys don't stay in your lane. You get on the Christians, you get on the Muslims, you get on atheists, you get on anybody, so you're not staying in your lane. But when it comes to the Hebrew Israelite thing, you got to stay in your lane. So if one group is teaching Edomites can make it, I can't, well, what do you think? I said I can't say nothing because I'm in my lane. You got to talk to them. No. If a group saying Edomites can make it, you got to make a video showing the people, no, they're going off. And if they get mad, they get mad. Like the GOCC, they're completely gone. They're complete bug outs. GOCC are complete bug outs. Nobody even watches their videos. Nobody in Israel. They're just complete bug outs, man. It says, O foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you. This is what I want. That ye should not obey the truth, before whose eyes Yahushua HaMashiach hath been evidently set forth, crucified among you. So some of them were the witnesses, right? This only would have learned of you, receive ye the Spirit by the works of the law, or by the hearing of faith. They say keep the law, keep the law. Well, if you keep the law, that doesn't mean that the Most High is going to grant you the Comforter, the Holy Spirit. Are ye so foolish, having begun in the Spirit? Because this is a spiritual awakening. This is a spiritual awakening. That's why Peter the controversy came up about what it was dealing with circumcision in Acts 15, which is called the Jerusalem Council. And you had, I believe there was Pharisees, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not going to go to it, but they followed. You had scribes and Pharisees that followed Yahushua, followed the apostles. You had priests follow the apostles, meaning they followed Yahushua. So there were a group of men, I don't know if it was 2 men or a group of men, they said, look, they cannot enter into heaven unless they be circumcised. So that was presented to Paul and Barnabas. And Paul had to bring it to the attention of, the apostles, right? So the conclusion was, no, they don't got to get circumcised, but they can eat meat, can't eat meat, the blood. You have to put out the blood, and a couple other laws. And then when you read it, the Apostle Paul went into the adultery. I'm not going to push you to keep all the laws, but there's major laws that unto death, like adultery. You can't do that. Are ye now made perfect by the flesh? What does it mean, made perfect by the flesh? By keeping the laws. That's what the IUI is, and keep the laws. Well, it's not about keeping the laws. It's about receiving. This only what I had learned of you, receive the Spirit by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith. You had to hear somebody tell you that you're an Israelite, tell you that Yahushua, that's not, Jesus Christ is not his name is Yahushua. Even the blue letter says it. Why does Nate, if the Spirit is so powerfully dealing with him, why does he still got his men calling on Jesus Christ? And why every once in a while he'll blurt out Yahweh by Shem Yahushua? Because he's covering his ass. So, hey, I believe if these guys started saying Yahweh by Shem, when they come across the word Jesus Christ, they'll say Yahweh by, I guarantee you that he'll correct them while you're saying that. Then all they got to do is say, well, you say it. Last week you said Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. 2 weeks before that you said Yahweh by Shem Yahushua. But when we say it, we get threatened about getting kicked out. This is why we got kicked out many years ago, because of the Cornelius thing. And all these groups now teach, ISUPK teaches that Cornelius is an Israelite. Back there, more than 20 years ago, 95? Shit, we're talking 30 years ago. 28 years ago, almost 30 years ago. Show you how long we've been in this thing. Back then, we were the only guys that was saying that Cornelius is an Israelite. Nobody else. Now everybody's saying Cornelius is an Israelite, including Nate. Nate said, I said, let's cast a lot. Nate said, no, that's wicked. When you look up the word lot, do a word search on the word lot. It's like dice. You roll the dice. That's a lot. Casting a lot. That's not wicked. Because if that casting a lot was wicked, then Matthias did not replace Judas Iscariot as one of the 12. There was really only 11. So what the hell are you talking about? So I wanted to deal with the word bewitched. It says, "O foolish Galatians, who have bewitched you?" Somebody told you some shit that they were going off on, and you accepted it. Bewitched. I'm gonna look up the word bewitched. And there was a comedy series called Bewitched with Elizabeth Montgomery. That was one of my favorite shows for some reason. They just showed you, I think it was John Todd that said that when those shows were being written, they were written by actual witches. That actual witches were like because they were using certain spells and they were using certain actual words that a witch would use. And I believe that came out in 66. The Monsters came out in 66, 67. 66 is a vibration. 66, 67. Get Smart. Get Smart. Maxwell Smart. A great comedy. Great writers. Let me see. Foolish Galatians. Bewitched. Let's look at the word bewitched. Because Bishop Nate, has a spell over his congregation. That's why you fellow bishops supposed to, ain't none of y'all ain't gonna stop. Whatever he says is like he's God. Remember Herod, remember what happened with him in Acts 12. So let's listen to this word right here.
Strong's G 940. Moschino. Moschino.
You Moschino in the people. Bewitch. To speak ill of one, to slander, and that's what you do. We tell you that you're going off, and you slander us. Traduce him. I'm going to look that word up. To bring evil on one by feigning praise, or an evil eye, to charm, to bewitch. So let me look up the word traduce. That should be the root of introduce. Let me look up the word traduce. Oh, by the way, some knucklehead, two knuckleheads, well, one, the big head one, IUIC, he said, yeah, the Hebrew, you can't speak the English and go to the Hebrew if you speak in English, because the W is not from the Hebrew, the Y is not from the Hebrew, and the G is not from the Hebrew. Well, guess what? I showed you that the G, which is God, the W, which is Wah, and the Y, which is Yah, is in the Hebrew. When you go to the first grade, you learn the alphabets. The A, the sound of the A is Ah. The sound of the B is Ba. That's Hebrew. Alphabet is the word, the word, which is a compound word. Alphabet goes back to the Latin, which goes back to the Greek, which goes back to the Hebrew. The Hebrew word for alpha is alap, which means cattle, or the head of a cattle. So alap is a word. The Greeks called it alpha, and alpha means first. But really, that Greek word goes back to the Hebrew. Its origins go back to the Hebrew, which is alap, which is the head of the cattle. Bet is bayath, which is house. So in first grade, when you're learning your ABCs, your alphabet, you're learning Hebrew. I'm going to get back in the subject. While not definitely confirmed, many scholars believe the origins of the alphabet can be traced back to a what? Proto, which means first. Sinatic, which is Sinai. That's that region, Levant, right? The Sinai. First Sinai script. When Moses got the laws, he was given the laws in the ancient Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, which is closely related to ancient Hebrew. Well, ancient Hebrew, Proto-Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew, Paleo meaning old Hebrew, meaning that Hebrew is considered one of the earliest alphabets. Alphabet is a compound word which is alap bayath, cattle, house, or tent. So when this guy said, well, you can't say it in the English because the English didn't come from the Hebrew, what the hell are you talking? What are they teaching over there? What the hell are they teaching you? Anyway, these guys just make shit up, and then they'll teach it, and they'll smirk when they're saying, see, there's people that teach this. And the scriptures say, Paul said, being wise in your own conceit. Let's look up the word traduce. Speaking badly of or tell lies about someone so as to damage their reputation. And that's what this guy does. We don't do that to him. We don't get on him to damage his reputation. His reputation's already damaged. but he'll come back at us to damage our reputation. And here we are, we telling the truth. So you're telling the people, see, if them guys is teaching that the MOTB is a micro C-hip, they got demons on them. So stay away from them guys. So you're causing the people not to follow the true men of the Most High. Okay? So now let's go into some more words. I'm going to pull out these words. To speak ill of one, slander him, being evil one, feigning praise, evil eye, to charm. Let's look up the word to charm, which is a spell, to put a spell on somebody. Charm definition: the chanting or reciting of a magical spell, incarnation, practice or expressing believed to have magic power. The chanting or reciting of a magical spell. So you got to, when he says bewitched, Paul was saying you have a spell over these people. Anyway, I'm gonna close, and I'm gonna come back with a part 2 of this. I gotta close for a minute, so I'll be back. So this will be considered part 1 of this video. Shalom.